Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel, Shades of Sage, where I discuss all things motherhood. My name is Tashima and today I am doing a VBAC tips video. So actually I'm trying out a new setting for my videos. This is my bedroom. I have finally moved out the crib, which used to be right over there in that corner for baby Kenzo. So let me know how you like this setting. Maybe I can do my talking videos in here if you really like it. So just leave a comment down below if you like it. Okay. So today I'm doing a VBAC tips video. I have been getting a lot of questions on Instagram and in my other VBAC videos, my birth stories about VBACs and about how to prepare for them and about how to have a successful VBAC. So I thought it would be really good for me to do this video because I haven't actually done a video about how to successfully VBAC. I have just put up my birth stories. So if you don't know what a VBAC is, it's spelled VBAC and it means vaginal birth after cesarean. This is for those ladies who have had a C-section in the past and now they're pregnant again and they want to try to give birth vaginally after that for the next pregnancy. My first tip actually is to understand the reasons why you had a cesarean the first time. Understand maybe what happened, what the actual reason was for your VBAC. In my case, for my first birth, for my cesarean, it was an emergency C-section. So I had to have it because at that point it was life-threatening for me and for my baby to try to deliver vaginally. But that may not be your case. Maybe you had a C-section because your baby was breech. Maybe you had a C-section because you failed to progress at a certain point in your labor. Maybe you had a C-section because you were pushing and the baby just was too big to fit down the birth canal or whatever. So whatever the case may be, make sure that you know the reasons why you actually had a C-section and don't just go by your doctor, what they say. You can get your medical records from your OBGYN or your midwife, whoever you're using or whoever you used previously to deliver your baby for the cesarean. So get your medical records, know what is actually in your chart as far as why you needed a C-section. So for me, I was told that I needed a C-section because I was getting so sick with my preeclampsia, which was true. I was getting sick. But in my charts, I noticed that it said I failed to progress. And then when I got pregnant for the second time and I went to the doctor and I was discussing having a vaginal birth after my first cesarean, they were telling me that I might not be a good candidate because I failed to progress. So you just really want to know what's in your records because that could kind of make or break your OB's comfortability with you delivering vaginally after your first cesarean or after your cesarean. So my next tip is to educate yourself about VBACs. Do your research about VBACs. Make sure that you know the risks involved. Make sure that you know the current statistics for a VBAC for those women who have attempted to VBAC and actually were successful versus those who attempted and were not successful for whatever reason. If you are delivering at a hospital, make sure that you know the VBAC's hospital rates. So make sure you know how many women were actually able to VBAC successfully at that particular hospital that you are planning to deliver at. And also you want to take a look at their C-section rates in general, so overall. So you want to know how high or how low does this hospital rank for VBAC. So just make sure that you are armed with all of the information, the good, the bad, the ugly, about vaginal births after cesarean. So my next tip is to find an OB or midwife who is VBAC friendly and not just VBAC tolerant, because there is a difference between those two terms. So for VBAC friendly, they're going to try to really encourage you to have your vaginal birth. They're going to try to walk you through the steps and the process of having a vaginal birth. They will work with you when it comes to your due date. On the other hand, a VBAC tolerant provider may kind of try to discourage you about trying to do the VBAC. They may tell you you're not a good candidate for a VBAC. They may tell you maybe we'll let you have a VBAC or we'll let you try a VBAC or a toe lock, which is a trial of labor after C-section. Maybe we'll let you try that, but if you don't deliver by this date, then they'll schedule you for a C-section. Or if you don't deliver by this date, then you have to come in and be induced or whatever the case may be. So make sure that your OB, as soon as you know that you want to give birth or as soon as you know that you want to try the vaginal birth, make sure that they're on board with you and that you bring that up to them, that you discuss the things that you want to happen during your labor, the things that you don't want to happen during your labor, and how serious you are about wanting your vaginal birth. Which leads me to my next tip, which is be prepared for pushback, but stick to your guns. I cannot emphasize this enough because sometimes due to insurance reasons or financial reasons, whatever the case may be, you may be stuck with your provider that you have. Okay, that's totally fine. You are your own voice. You have a voice. This is your birth. This is your body. This is your baby. Nobody can force you into a cesarean. And I do talk about this in my Chit Chat Get Ready With Me video about VBACs. Stand your ground. Whatever it is that you decide that you want to happen during your birth, during your labor, during your delivery, that is all up to you. That is your right to voice your opinions. And sometimes doctors may try to lead you one way or try to sway you one way on what they think you should do is best. But it's not a cookie cutter approach. It shouldn't be. When it comes to pregnancy, when it comes to childbirth, every woman is different. No two women are the same, and no two births are the same, even if it's the same mother giving birth to another baby in her family. It's different every single time. So remember that the doctors, the OBs, the midwives, they work for you, not the other way around. It's not their birth, it's yours. Make it up in your mind to be really set, really firm on what it is that you want to do. Have your birth plan. I know that birth plan, of course, everything may not go to plan, of course, but make sure that the things that are really, really, really important to you are voiced and made known to your healthcare professionals, and stick to your guns. I cannot emphasize that enough. My next tip is to try to labor as naturally as possible, or shoot for laboring as naturally as possible. I'm not saying that you can't have an epidural. I'm just saying that sometimes when they start doing interventions, maybe Pitocin or maybe breaking the water, some of those things can help to speed up your labor, and then sometimes it can make things worse, especially if you are trying to do a vaginal birth. So as women, our bodies were made for this. They were made to birth our babies, they were made to carry our babies and get them safely delivered. So you can do this, just know that, keep that in mind. But women have success laboring as naturally as they can, because once you start one intervention, it usually leads to another intervention, and then it kind of spirals and goes from there. And you don't want to end up in a situation where you have to have another C-section. So laboring as natural as possible, really changing up your positions while you're in the process of labor, getting on the exercise ball, using the peanut ball to open up your hips and your pelvis, maybe even laboring at home as long as you can, because you know once you go to the hospital, then they put you on the clock. So just really trying to keep the interventions low, try to keep your labor as augmentation free as you can, and that will definitely help in your level of success, definitely help you to have better chances at having your vaginal birth. The tip that I have for trying to give birth vaginally after cesarean is a good support system. So have a good support system. Other people, it could be your medical provider that really supports your VBAC, friends and family that support your VBAC, your partner that supports your VBAC, and also getting a doula. A doula is a great resource to have, to be by your bedside through the whole process of labor and delivery, because she's armed with the medical information and she's armed with your personal information. So she knows how to advocate for you. She knows how to, sometimes when the doctors come in and they say certain things, you may not understand it, but your doula can explain those things to you. And a doula is just a great person to have in addition to your support team or whoever you plan on having in your room with you on the day that you deliver, to kind of help you and coach you through the labor and birthing process. And women that have doulas present for their births have a greater chance at delivering vaginally. So a doula, a good support system in general, is a great addition to your care team if you are trying to plan for a vaginal birth after cesarean. Last tip is to plan for the case that you may need a cesarean, but be okay with that. So this is mainly a mental thing. I know that when I had my cesarean the first time for my first pregnancy, I felt like a failure. I felt like I wasn't a woman, and it really got me down about that until I actually had my vaginal birth for my second. But for me, I just knew that I was going to try a vaginal birth. But if it didn't happen for whatever reason, I was preparing myself to be mentally okay with having to have another cesarean. But I just was going to give myself the chance and the opportunity to try. So know that you may do everything right. It may be going according to plan, it may be going perfectly, and you still end up with a C-section, and that's okay. You know, at the end of the day, what we really want is a healthy baby and a healthy mom. So make all the preparations that you can, do all the research that you can, watch videos like this that can help you for preparing for a vaginal birth after cesarean. You know, talk to other moms who may have done it. Like I said, I did do it. I've had 2 VBACs, so I've given birth 2 times after my cesarean and gave birth vaginally. and it was great. So just know that you can do it. Stay positive, really manifest this into the atmosphere. Whatever it is that you do, pray, speak it into existence, whatever it is that you do that really helps you to motivate you to stay positive. But just know that you can do it. Other women have done it, I've done it, and the old saying, once a C-section, always a C-section, is not true. You can have a vaginal birth after cesarean. So if you are one of those women who's pregnant, if you've had a C-section before, even if you had 2 C-sections before and you really want to try for a vaginal birth, I'm wishing you all the best. I hope that you get the vaginal birth that you're looking for. That's all I have for this video today. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe if you like this content, or if you want to see more content like this. I do have my birth stories in the playlist on this channel, and I have some other videos in the playlist about how to give birth epidural free, or other tips and techniques for labor and delivery, like breathing techniques, positionings, so you can check those videos out. Thank you so much for watching today, and remember to let your story be your power. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!